Hello, welcome to the Freya channel. Today we're going to be speaking on what led me here, what got me here, where did I have to hit rock bottom in order to start the journey that I'm on today, the inner healing journey that I'm on today. And I guess I wanted to start this YouTube channel with that because I wanted you guys to see from what led me here, where I started, and that I want you to tap into the infinite possibilities that's possible for you if you're feeling this way right now in your life. That's where I'm coming from. Okay, so I used to live in the United States. I grew up in the United States from age 3 to 13. And at the age of 13 years old, I moved back to Quebec. And I guess there was a lot of emotions in that I didn't really realize at the time, but it caused me a lot of stress because I ended up in a high school where I didn't know many people, where I had to change languages, where I had to learn how to read and write in French, where I had to make new friends. And when you're 13 years old, that's kind of a big thing for you because you're, in that age of like friends are really important, and your social life is super important. And I was always a very shy little girl, and the clash between the United States and the school that I went to in Quebec was like really intense for me. So I don't want to get into the details of that, but I just want to bring you to the fact that I was really, really confused. And I didn't really know who I was. I think like any 13-year-old girl, we are trying to understand ourselves. I just started getting my period, and like we're becoming a woman, but we don't really know what's going on, and we're just trying to kind of like adapt and survive in this world. And that's what I felt like, at least. And I developed anxiety, and I didn't really know that it was anxiety at the time. I started working at McDonald's during those years, and I would get really, really dizzy and start like having trouble breathing, and I couldn't. It was as if I was having a heart attack. That's the symptoms. Like my heart was really like doing this weird. I don't have the word. It was just, I have it in French. Mon cœur serré. My heart was beating really fast. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was really, really dizzy. And I would just become super, super anxious and think that I was like about to die. And it would happen multiple times a day. So it started at the age of 13, and it lasted until probably the age of 21, 22, when I started going to university, and all through university. And it was on and off. Like it wasn't always intense. There were some months, some days where it was better, and there was some months and days where it was horrible, and it made me feel like I had a problem, like I was broken, like I couldn't possibly get myself out of this. I didn't know what I had. So when I started experiencing these panic attacks, the first reaction I had was like, I need to go see a doctor. There's something wrong with my heart. I really thought that I had a problem, like a medical problem, because I wasn't really in tune with my emotions. I didn't understand what stress was. I didn't have any clue what a nervous system was or any of that. And I just thought something was wrong with me because it would just come up and I didn't know what to do with it. And it was so uncomfortable and so stressful for me to experience that in public, because every moment where I wanted to go out, like, I would always get these thoughts of, what if you experience this? What if this happens when you're with your friends? What if this happens if you're at work? And it would happen. And it was just embarrassing. And I kept it to myself for years and years and years. And then there was this one day where I was at McDonald's and I had a huge panic attack, and I'll always remember. And I was sitting in the back seat of my mom's car, and I was just like, take me to the hospital, take me to the hospital. I had trouble breathing, and it was so hectic. And I ended up going to see my doctor, and there was it was a powerful moment for me because I wasn't expecting this as a response. But she looked at me and she said, are you stressed? And I was like, no. Like, as numb and disconnected from your body as it can get. And I forgot to precise that I had gotten into drinking and exploring like drugs and all that. And I guess I was numbing that anxiety a lot throughout my journey of exploring with that. So she looked at me and she said, are you stressed? And I was like, no, I don't think so. And she said, what you're experiencing is panic attacks. And I'm like, what is that? How do I stop that? What do I take to just stop this? Because it feels like I'm dying and I want to, I don't want to feel this anymore. And she just looked at me and she said, there was 2 routes. Basically, the medication, which I didn't choose, and I didn't go down that route in my life. Or the other route was, she looked at me and she said, take a brown paper bag, put it on your mouth, and breathe when this happens. Breathe into the paper bag, like that. Like, I'm sure you can see the image of that paper bag like blowing up. And yeah, so that was the second solution of my biggest problem in the world, where I thought I was dying. Blow in a paper bag. And I was like, okay, so there's a pill and there's blowing in a paper bag. So I came out of there because the pill wasn't an option for me at that time. Or ever in my life, that the pill wasn't an option. So I chose a brown paper bag, basically. And that was that. So I was just like, oh, okay. So, when you have a problem or when you experience something in your life and like we can label it as like a mental disorder or like you're not doing well here. You get told to go see your doctor. And that's what I had done. I went to see my doctor, but I didn't think it was here. I thought it was like a physical condition because I could feel it in my body. I thought I was dying. And like, even as I'm saying this, it makes so much sense because it's like, I felt like I felt like I was dying in my body. So like, there was something in my body that I needed to address. And it's crazy how that all led me to breath work. Because breath work is connecting to the body in order to heal yourself. And to heal yourself or to feel better within yourself, to create confidence within yourself. Call it what you want. I'm not here to say, I want to make that very, very clear that I'm not a healer. I'm not here to heal anybody. I'm not a doctor. And I think that that's really important for you guys to understand. And I've never claimed that. And I don't think that anything that you do with me as terms of like coaching or programs or just watching me on YouTube is going to heal you. Like, I'm here to shine a light on what is possible, and you do your own inner healing. There's nobody that's going to save you. And that's what I've learned in this journey. It's like I was constantly looking for external validation, for external help, for someone to come and save me. You know, like the princess that's waiting at the top of the castle for her prince to come and save her. That was me. And I want to empower women to finally understand all the power that they hold within their body, within their breath, so that they're no longer that princess waiting for somebody to come save them, because no one's coming to save you. You know why? Because you're so fucking powerful on your own. And not on your own in the sense that you have to do it all alone. It's just you're so powerful that once you reconnect to that power, there's no one that's there to save you, and you understand that. That doesn't mean that you can't create community. That doesn't mean that you can't have support. That doesn't mean that you can't put yourself in environments that tap you back into your power, because I've done that the whole time. I've been supported by mentors, by coaches, by retreats, by people that I find inspiring, that I would go and just immerse myself into their environments because it made me feel more happy, alive, confident, pure, like all the good stuff that you want to feel when you're on this healing journey. But there's a difference between doing it because you know that it's like you're attuning to that frequency by going into places, environments, being coached by people. And there's a difference between going to see the doctor and saying, like, fix me. And that's the mentality I want people to move out of, that I wish for you to move out of, because nobody's coming to fix you. You don't need to be fixed. You don't need to be fixed. You're such a powerful human being, and you've just forgotten that. So that was a huge parenthèse. But I don't even remember where I was at. Okay, so I was talking about the brown paper bag, and then going back to that. And so I decided to take the brown paper bag route. And that was a hard one because I stayed in my shit for years and years and years. And, you know, I would numb a lot with alcohol, with drugs, with relationships, with anything I could find external to me that would bring me some sort of security or happiness or like false sense of security. I want to put that into like in the forefront. It wasn't true inner security. It was like a band-aid. Anything that could help me forget, disconnect from the thoughts, disconnect from the feelings in my body, and just like repress everything that I was in order to kind of survive. So I was living in survival mode for years and years and years. And I just thought that that was life. And when I would talk to people and I would say, like, I would have the courage to open up and say like how I'm feeling, a lot of people would just say, yeah, it's normal, like ça va passer, it'll pass. Yeah, I get like that too. And I just thought that that was normal. And then there was, you know, cycles of it getting better and then going back down and then getting better and go. And that's because I think, you know, as women, we are cyclical beings, so we have these cycles of healing. And instead of going into the healing journey, I was just repressing the healing journey, and I was wanting to not feel that stuff and numbing and doing anything I can to not feel that, and distracting myself, like I said, all the things that I was doing. So I was resisting the healing journey that was actually just here for me, you know, like those emotions, now that I look back, were here for me. They were appearing so that I could move through them, but I didn't know how to move through them. I had no fucking clue. the brown paper bag thing didn't work for me. Like it wasn't a tool that I used. I didn't even want, like, I thought that was completely absurd. I was like, I'm dying and you're telling me to take a brown paper bag and blow in it? Like, I was like insulted. So I was just like, fuck this. I'm going to do this on my own, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. But like for years it was alcohol, partying, drugs, relationships, finding worth in anything, or finding confidence in anything outside of me that would make me feel a little bit better in the moment, and then spiraling into anxiety, panic attacks, insomnia, so many physical symptoms as well that I don't have anymore. And I say this, it's just like, it brings so much happiness when I say that, because there was years ago where I had so much eczema. Like, anyone who knows me, I had so much eczema on my hands, everywhere on my body, and I don't have that anymore. And I, like, since the young age of like 7 years old that I had this, not since the panic attacks, since much earlier than that. And it's one of the first years where I don't have that anymore. So it brings a lot of emotions, because I know that I struggled with that for like my whole life, and I kept getting told that it was something chronic, or that you can never, it's just life to have not life, but it's your life. You're stuck with it, so that's it. But there's so much healing that's possible when you go on this journey. And I don't know what's possible for you. I just know what was possible for me. And I'm not here to tell you what you're going to get out of this. I want you to explore this with an open heart and an open mind, and see for yourself how powerful you truly are. There were so many symptoms: eczema, digestive issues. I had so much heartburn, so many heartburns, and like bloating, and like heartburns to the point where I couldn't sleep at night because it was so painful to feel that burning sensation, like all the way up in my throat. And insomnia, hectic insomnia, where I couldn't sleep for days and days and days, just because I was so disconnected from my truth, and I was so lost. And my body this is what I feel years later, is the only time where I was with myself, where I would allow myself to be with myself, is when I would get in bed and sleep, and the thoughts wouldn't stop, because that was the only time that I would allow them to come in, because otherwise I was distracted, I was numbing, I was doing the things. And so at night when I would want to rest, it would just come up, and I couldn't, because there was so much healing that wanted to move through me that I was resisting. So anxiety, insomnia, all the digestive issues, and eczema, and so much. And I went down so many different routes of trying to heal myself through supplements and natural ways. And like, I was at Avril every day almost, trying to find a different supplement to help me heal. And I don't think that that's any better than taking a medical pill. Like for me, it means the same thing. It's not that the medical pill is bad. It's not that the supplement is bad. It's that, what is your intention behind that? Is it like, once I take this, it's going to heal me? Or is this like an ally and a like, I know my power, but I'm still going to try this? Or like, there's such a different intention in when you buy something and you're like, oh, I hope this works. And like, that was me. I hope this works. And just spending money and like losing myself in all different diets, supplements, techniques, yoga, and like meditation at a time where I was just like trying to meditate, and I didn't know, like, I couldn't do it because this was so hectic to be in. Like my mind just couldn't stop talking and saying things. And it was like when I would finally sit with myself for 10 minutes and try and meditate, I felt so discouraged, so angry. So much anger would come up. Like the anger was so intense in the beginning, because I feel like the anger is like the emotion that we're most able to feel, because it's the most accepted, not accepted, but like anger is more, it's more easier to show anger than to show vulnerable grief or tears. So yeah, the anger was really, really there, the fire. And so yeah, that was me. Until one day I went to Hawaii, and I think that Hawaii in itself is such a magical and beautiful place. And I'm not telling you go to Hawaii, you're gonna heal. That's not the message here. But I went to Hawaii without knowing what Hawaii would bring for me as energy. Because Hawaii, I was on the island of Kauai, which is the garden island. And, you know, just being in an environment where you're connected to nature every single day is healing in itself. Like, you're not being under fluorescent lights, and being connected to nature is wow. If you can just do that today and start doing that more and more, like there's so much that's possible for you in that. It's like the simplest things bring out the most. And for me, nature is wow. It's one of the big ones, along with breath work. So yeah, I went to Hawaii, and I was often chasing the next trip, or the next travel, like the next travel opportunity, because when you're on a trip or traveling, you can feel a sense of peace when you're near the ocean, or doing like something where you don't have an agenda. Like there's a certain peace that comes from that, and I was often chasing that. And when I went to Hawaii, I realized, well, the second time I went to Hawaii, I couldn't get into that vacation mode. It was like I was stressed out, I couldn't sleep, and I was in Hawaii, like my thoughts were like, if you're stressed out in Hawaii right now, how the fuck are you going to manage your life? And it didn't make any sense. I was like, how can I be stressed right now? I'm in Hawaii. Like, there's nothing to be stressed about. You just need to like get up with the sun and enjoy life by the beach. Like, why am I stressed right now? But it was like I had so much stress, emotions trapped in my physical body, that I just couldn't get out of that state. So I was in Hawaii. I was with my friend who lives in Hawaii. We were on a beach in Poliale State Park, and I went there this year. And wow, I have shivers just speaking about it. But there was a moment where everyone was wanting to take a nap on the beach, and I couldn't sleep because I couldn't freaking like slow down, because I was so stressed all the time. And it just like, oh, people are gonna sleep. What am I gonna do? And I just decided to lie down on that beach. And we were like not on the beach, a little bit above, like where the trees were and where the camping sites were. And I just remember lying down on that beach and looking up at the sky and seeing the clouds, and being like, I know I'm not gonna sleep, because my thoughts didn't stop. And I was starting to understand the pattern. It's like, I'm not gonna sleep, but I'm just gonna lie here and be it. So be it. And I started looking up at the clouds, and it brought me back to a memory of when I was a child, and I would just lay down and look at the sky, and there wasn't a worry in the world, you know. And saying this brings a lot of emotions because it was like that was the medicine I needed in that moment that I was running away from. It was like so pure and so simple to just look at those clouds and feel like I was safe for a moment. And it just brought me back to those moments when you're a child. And for me, being a child, I remember one of the things that I loved doing the most was looking at the sky and looking at the stars. And yeah, so that happened. And and from that moment on, I knew like that I had tapped into something powerful. And from that night, I was able to sleep a little bit better on my trip. And it's like I had finally surrendered. I had finally decided to slow down and to just be with myself. And in that moment, healing happened. And on that beach, my friend told me, you should try yoga. So when I got back to Quebec, I decided to try yoga for the I don't know how many times I had tried yoga for my stress. And I was like, I've tried yoga, it doesn't work. It just makes me really, really angry and makes me feel really, really, like my heartburn gets even worse when I'm doing yoga because I'm upside down and like, so I was like, okay, I'm going to try yoga because I went back to Quebec. And, you know, the rest of my trip, I felt peace. I felt happy. I felt really calm and really calm, like not as calm as I can feel today, but as calm as I could feel back then. And I was like, wow, I don't want to leave, but you know, I had to leave, and that was a vacation. So I left, I went back to Quebec, and I started feeling the stress and the anxiety again, and it started coming back up in the lifestyle that I was in. And so I remembered what my friend told me on that day, and I signed up for a yoga course. And I just remember seeing the poster online, or the marketing thing online, and I didn't even look. It was a yoga studio, and I just saw like good for anxiety, good for stress, and I was like, okay, sign me up. It was a workshop. It wasn't a yoga class in the studio. It was a workshop, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know who the teacher was. I didn't know anything. I just like signed up. It was near to where I worked, and I was like, I need to go do this. I don't know. And I signed up because I saw anxiety, stress, and I was like, maybe that will heal me. Maybe that will heal me. Because, you know, just searching for anything that will heal me was a way. So I went to that workshop, and that's where I met my mentor and the woman that has changed my life in so many ways, and not by changing my life in a way where like just her support and her guidance was, and her wisdom and everything that she's taught me, because I've done all my trainings with her. It was that moment that changed everything for me. And it was a breathwork workshop with my mentor, Genevieve, and I will always remember that day. Like, yeah, I will always remember that day. And I think I'm going to end this for now. And I'll go into the story of the breathwork on my next week's YouTube video. So I wish you all a beautiful day. And if this resonates, if you felt anything, if you can comment or share or just like speak to me about what this is making you feel or what you're realizing in your own life by listening to me. That I really love reading you guys, and it makes my day to be able to see that there's things moving through you as you listen. So please share, please comment, especially please like, subscribe, whatever. Do what makes you feel good, but just know that your voice counts and that your shares really count for me and for everyone who's reading them. So don't be shy to comment. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye.